Okay, basic blueprint reading for welders. This is Gary Pace, Alief ISD welding instructor. We're going to power our way through this. The document that I got this from is Open Oregon Pressbooks.pub Blueprint Front Matter Introduction. But if you want to find the information for this basic blueprint reading course, you just type in Open Oregon Blueprint Reading and the material should be there. I've listed this information in your Schoology assignments, so you should be able to find this. This is where I took all the material from. Engineering graphics is the method for documenting a design. This is how we communicate. Engineers communicate to people building it, designers, drafters, whoever that is coming up with the design communicates to the people that are going to build the design. It's its own separate language, but it's a graphical language, and it's got its own grammar. Welding and manufacturing personnel must be familiar with print reading as it is expected in industry. You're expected to do this. You should know what's going on. This set of slides is going to introduce you into the basics, but it's not comprehensive. So we're going to get into it. We're going to spend some time this quarter chewing through mechanical drawing, blueprint reading, the whole 9 yards. We're going to power through some stuff. Why is print reading important? Well, number one is to get an accurate estimate of how much material it's going to take to build something. We don't want to spend, 4 times as much buying material that we're not going to use. If we only need to make 50 cookies, well, we don't need to get enough flour for 6,000 cookies. So it gives us a general idea. It's also to ensure that items and components are built to plans and specifications. And it's the welder's responsibility to build items from prints. You want to get a job out there in welding world, you got to be able to read blueprints. If you don't, it's going to be a long road for you. Documenting a part, that's what we're doing when we're talking about building something. We're talking about the shape, size, material, tolerance, and the finish. The people that are designing, the engineers and the designers, they're the ones that come up with what they want built, and then they put it onto a paper form so that the people that are building it, the workforce, the craft, they can look at it and say, oh, all right. And this is like, putting together Legos. We've all built Legos where you build a little starship or you build the Millennium Falcon or some Star Wars kind of thing or Harry Potter or whatever your thing is. They send you a little packet with some bricks and they give you some little pictures and they go through step by step on how to put that little spaceship or Harry Potter's castle or whatever the hell it is you're building, police car, however you're going to put it together. It shows you. It's just a bigger version of that when we make buildings or we make bridges or airplanes. It's the same concept, just on a grander scale. So we want to make sure we get shape, size, material, tolerance, and finish. Tolerance and finish, but that's just an example of some things that could be on there. I kind of poached this from another slide. So engineering drawings, it's a universal language. It's got conventions. It's got drawing grammar. We're not going to have a grammar test, but you got to understand that there's certain things we do and don't do in our form of communication, in this written form of communication. Personnel and manufacturing and construction need to be able to read blueprints. If you can't read blueprints, you're sunk. You're going to be welding garbage cans or dumpsters. You want to make the big kid money, you got to be able to read blueprints to be that top dollar hand. Not being able to read blueprints can lead to costly mistakes. It can cost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on what's going on. So you really need to be able to understand how to read blueprints. Blueprints are copies of mechanical or other types of technical drawings. The term blueprint reading means interpreting ideas expressed by others on drawings, whether or not the drawings are actually blueprints. I don't know where that came from, but we need to understand that blueprints and mechanical drawings and engineering drawings and sketches are all technical drawings, and those terms are utilized interchangeably. Here's a an example of a blueprint. I don't know what this is. It looks like some kind of flange, some threaded on fitting type flange. But you can see there's a lot going on here. We got dimensions and radiuses and angles and all kinds of good information that needs to be transmitted to whoever's constructing this part. Here's a 3D model. In today's world, it's like, what would it be, Roblox or something, or Minecraft, where you're building things out of blocks. Basic idea behind this is you're building something in a 3D space on the computer, and then you're going to print it out. You're going to add some dimensions, and it'll give you what your model is in a graphical format on paper. Here's another example of a 3D model to print. Here we've got 3 different views, though. You can see in the upper right-hand corner we've got the part, and then you see that little blue tag? That's what the part would look like if we looked at it from the top. The little orange one, that's what it would look like if we looked at it from the front. And then the little part with the green, that's what it would look like if we looked at it from the back. Okay, in this module, we covered a basic overview and an introduction into blueprint reading. We also talked about why blueprint reading is important. It's a language of communication between engineers, workers, and technicians. It allows everybody to communicate, and they communicate because with lines and pictures. It's a graphical language. You could write up what you wanted in text, big paragraphs saying what you wanted, but if you build somebody a picture and say, hey, I want this done, and this is the sizes, and blah, 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 you've got everything. So this is just the basic overview of why we care about blueprint reading. It's because we need to make things, and it's a lot easier to do it with a graphical language such as blueprints than it is with the written word or any other form of communication. So that's why we care about blueprint reading.